If you don't have a buck knife yet, go buck yourself. I would say about a month ago I did a video about buck knives, buck 110 to be specific, and why it's such an iconic knife. And since then I've started farting around again, playing with modifying them, and through some suggestions from guys I've decided not to do the hole in the blade. I'm doing more of a slot. So I found a good deal and I bought 5 of the 120th anniversary buck knives. I have one that has bank vault lockup, and it really is. This one's bank vault, but maybe up a notch, Fort Knox kind of thing. I don't know. It's amazing. And it's fun. I mean, it's got the nice 120th anniversary etch in it. I don't know why I insist on holding these up and doing that sort of thing. You can never see anything, so that's just kind of stupid. Because we all love buck knives, just about all of us. There are a few out there who say that that's something that they never would want to own, and I respect that. I mean, they are communists. Indulge me while I show you the current state of my collection. I'm not going in any particular order, just whatever is within reach, and I don't hurt myself. I will show you this 120th anniversary one. There it is. A word to the wise on buying a buck knife. I researched it and I was right. Buck Knives is making a new knife every 15 seconds. And that doesn't mean they're making a 110 every 15 seconds. In watching the, kind of promotional video from Buck, they say they make a knife every 15 minutes. Well, you think of all the different knives that they make in the Idaho factory. Yeah, I guess they could crank out a knife every 15 minutes. There are going to be subtle idiosyncrasies between each knife. So if you go into Walmart or you go into a sporting goods store, these are some things you want to look for. A word to the wise. I would never buy a buck knife that's in a blister pack, because you can't see the flip side of the handle. Though Buck is doing a pretty good job of matching up handles, you still can't see it, so there might be a dud. And you get it, you're all excited, you open it up when you get home, and the flip side is a piece of garbage. So I never do that. I look at them when they're in a box. That means they're coming with a leather sheath, and you can take it out of the box, take it out of the little foam wrapper, and inspect it. When the clerk hands me one of these knives, the very first thing I look at is the blade centering. 9 times out of 10, the blade centers nicely. So after you've done that, before I even open the knife, I look at this side and I see if it is evenly ground right across. Sometimes they're at an angle, but this particular knife had a very slight angle. I can't live with that. So I took it out to the slack belt and I contoured the back of this knife. 99 out of 100 guys would go, yeah, I could live with that. Not this nut job. After you've looked at the spine and it's nice and straight or acceptable to you, then you go ahead and you open the knife. And it might be tight and it might not lock up perfectly. And there's a reason for that. That's because, unlike what they say in the video at Buck Knives when they're doing their "aren't we amazing with the QC and we got to clean this up so that it's presentable to the customer" spiel, there's going to be a lot of crap inside this pivot. So you're going to open this knife up and you might do the pull down push up thing to see what kind of lockup you have, and it might feel kind of sloppy. Don't give up on that knife right away. Do that half a dozen times, 10 times, a dozen times, whatever, and you might feel it starting to seat even better and become tighter. That's a good thing. If it passes that test, then you know you got a good one. Whoever polished this knife stood at the buffer and just kept going, was probably talking to their friend or looking at their phone, who the heck knows. But they polished away a lot of material. And brass is softer than steel, so they polished brass away, and the steel was kind of resistant. So it has this rounded, shark finny kind of point to it, whereas this one was nicely done, nice and even, smooth across, same shape from front to back. Just saying, that's something to look out for. I actually kind of think that's neat. Makes it more rounded. So I don't have an issue with it. This is a holy buck. And I put a thumb ramp in the ebony. Now, some people think that's insane. You might be right. There's no way that this hole weakens the blade as much as the big round hole that I was putting in the very first time. First couple I did. I actually think you're not losing a lot of strength with this one. But what's nice is, let's say you got something in this hand, you know, a piece of rope or whatever, or who the heck knows, a branch, and you gotta cut it. But if you let go, it's gonna fly up into the tree again or whatever. So you have a hold of it, you take this out of your sheath, and you can one hand open and cut. Of course you can't one hand close, but you've already done the job. I guess I'm justifying this little project. I'm just having a good time with them. So that's 120th anniversary. This is my Fort Knox 120th anniversary, which I've just really enjoyed carrying. My S30V has a very good lockup. I would say it's bank vault, not Fort Knox, bank vault. I know that this is a superior steel. It's proven itself to me that it's superior, but it's not 100% classic, off-the-shelf, every day, every man, every guy buck knife. This is just a little different, and I haven't bonded with this like I have with this 120th anniversary. This is the one I carry. The other knife that's in my collection, and it's strictly because the handle was neat. They don't make that many of them. I think they're pretty darn rare. 110 with finger grooves. This has the laminate wood handles. I had one person comment they believed the laminate wood handles started in 1994. And then of course they went back to ebony in 2016. I haven't been able to find out for sure about the 1994. I have really no reason to not believe him, but I haven't confirmed it. Don't write it in your journal that Tom said it's 1994. The only reason why I keep this one is because it has very nicely matched handles, and it's finger grooves, and it's unique. And that's that. The one that started it all, back in 1981, my Buck 110 3-dot, that I of course attempted to round all the surfaces, because if you know the older buck knives from back then, one, the blades were sloppy. They were all over the place. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. This one, fan-freaking-tastic. 440C blade. This one happened to have a nice even grind. I've put a convex edge on it. It holds a lovely edge. Has two nice pieces of ebony that have never shrunk or swollen. So remember, back then, buck knives didn't contour the surfaces of the knife like they do now. I mean, you young whippersnappers are spoiled with this nice contouring and round surfaces. And that's why the sheaths didn't last very long back then, because you had this sharp brass and the heavy knife inside this sheath. I actually would see a little bit of knife exposed in the bottom part of some of these guys' sheaths, and I would think, whoa, someday that knife's just going to go yeehaw and be gone. If you don't have a buck knife yet, go buck yourself. Go to the store, get one. I think you'll be happy.